You have said we might be witnessing the death of the follower.
There's a new discovery layer of the internet, and I think that has like massive implications.
The death of followers, the follower death. I just want to get something out of the way because I have two issues with two platforms I'm using for consuming and creating social media. And the crazy part is that they are absolutely opposite issues. I have Instagram on one side and I have YouTube on the other. As a consumer, from the perspective of a consumer, my issue with Instagram is that I am not reaching the people I'm following. Every second post is an advertisement or a suggestion, basically everything but not what I was looking for when I pressed follow. On YouTube, on the other hand, for me personally, is the lack of new content coming out. So every time I go on it, I have the 5-6 people I follow religiously. They create something new, I get it on my feed and I can watch it. But there are so many people, even on my list, who I follow, they are creating stuff. It seems like there is no space for them. So YouTube is prioritizing people who are actually creating the freshest material. And also I am watching them religiously. I feel very often when I'm on YouTube, I'm actually a bit bored of the content. I really like the people I follow. I just want some fresh stuff. And I want to discover things. I'm a bit stuck. I don't know what to type. If I go on the discovery page, the trending things are coming up. It's just not my jam. Instagram, much easier to find new stuff because they're constantly on my feed. I'm not even following them. It's a bit confusing. Also, from the perspective of the creator, I'm really struggling with Instagram. I've been struggling for a long time. I feel like I'm not finding that kind of algorithm. I'm not unlocking the algorithm in a way, I guess, which is fine. It's my fault. There are many people who did it. Maybe even my content is just not good enough. It's not true. On YouTube, I feel like, generally speaking, it's much easier to be recognized. So let's watch the video.
You can imagine like different publishers and creators sort of building followings, and people talked about followers, and that's kind of how it was mostly until TikTok came around. And TikTok's main innovation, I think that the red herring is that it was vertical first short form video. That wasn't the innovation. I mean, it was one of them, but the main one was this concept of like the For You feed, which is, okay, you know, this concept of followers, like where you have a feed of people you follow, like forget about that. We think TikTok, we think we can build you a feed that you're going to like more and you're going to spend more time on than if you chose who to follow. And it worked. People spent more time in that feed and traffic started siphoning off of YouTube and Instagram and onto TikTok, and all the legacy social media companies started freaking out, trying to figure out what to do about it. And so they all replicated this concept, this core concept of like, okay, let's build a feed for you instead of you choosing what's in your feed. For You kind of became this new thing. And now people don't really spend time in follow-based feeds anymore. And it's so hyper focused on discovery that essentially what's happened in the last 4 years is YouTube built shorts, Instagram built reels, TikTok is out there doing For You, Twitter built a algorithmically curated feed called For You, and the net impact of all of that is you almost can't reach your followers anymore as a creator. You like make a post and 1 to 5% of your followers see your post.
Isn't it absolutely crazy how what I just described at the beginning, I assume that the solution would be somewhere in between. So, right, I want to have a mixture of being able to discover new things, but at the same time, I want to keep following who I follow, right? People who are working generally really, really hard to create content, work super hard, especially nowadays, for people to hit that subscribe button or that follow button. And then my post is not being fed to them later on. They're already following me is really frustrating. I feel like it just makes you feel like you work for nothing.
I think that's bad for creative people. I think it's bad for creators. Like, you can't build a community or a business if you can't reach the people who chose to follow you in the first place. And I think what a lot of creators are realizing here is like, oh, this isn't my audience. I thought I was like building a following, building an audience. You're like renting that audience from the social platforms. Like, it's not your audience, it's their users is what it is. Mm-hmm. And as a creator, that's like a hard place to be. And that's really transformed over the last 4 years to the point where we are now, which is essentially the follow is just not really a meaningful thing anymore on the internet.
Isn't it crazy that you build a business like back in the day? I don't even know if we should add the date to it here. Back in the day, you haven't had access to actually market yourself properly. There was no social media, there was no internet to put it on. So once we got the access, we learned the way how to do it. And at the beginning, I feel like it was more love-based in terms of like, okay, we are going to help you to create this thing if you help us grow, and then we're gonna go together. And then companies realized, hey, wait a second, there is a lot of money involved. Let's put the adverts back, let's put everything back. By the way, the adverts, like I still remember that I was watching television and I hated adverts. And now we are going back to the same routine what we had before. Crazy. They had to make some money. Obviously, we are not doing this only for love, right? They put back the adverts. Then we had this agreement of like, okay, I'm creating content. I have my followers. You do the adverts. We're all making money. Everyone is happy. And lately, I feel like the whole game is changing so much that it's a bit confusing. Is it about content creators? Is it about the followers? Is it about the company? Who are we prioritizing? And some companies are losing focus on how they actually make money, keeping that really fragile balance of I have to make the content creators and I have to make the followers happy. Same level, I feel like it's getting a tiny bit out of balance. And sometimes I feel like as a content creator, I'm not being appreciated. And sometimes I feel like as a consumer, everything is shoved down my throat.
I agree with you that that's taking place. And whether it's on short form or long form, we speak with very established YouTube creators that are looking at their analytics and they're telling us, hey, I'm still fighting for viewership here, but when I look at my number of returning viewers to new viewers, I'm actually just getting more and more new viewers and less returning viewers. So I definitely see that happening. For me though, I wonder, is the death of the follower just a consequence of the maturation of the creator economy? The fact that there are like way more creators than there have ever been, and maybe the demand for content has stayed relatively stable, and like the supply is able to be taken care of by a smaller group of people, making it harder.
100%. I think what's generally happened is the platforms have basically realized that novelty and discovery drives session time and watch time. And if your metrics are session time and watch time, which are the metrics that drive ad revenue, which is the core business.
By the way, I'm also learning with you right now. Not very educated on the topic. Let's go.
This model for these platforms, then you can drive ad revenue by over-rotating toward discovery, which is what I think has happened. But to be clear, like, I don't think discovery is a bad thing. Discovery is great. There needs to be discovery mechanisms. There are discovery mechanisms on Patreon. There need to be algorithms. Like, I'm not anti-algorithm. I'm not anti-discovery. I'm not anti-new creators. Like, all those things need to happen. It's a matter of balance, right? It's a matter of like, what other business, name another business who doesn't get to reach their customers. Like, that's not how it works. That's not right. It's not fair. There need to be, and again, I'm like, I'm preaching Patreon's gospel here. So, got to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But like as a creator, I want a place where I get a deterministic line of communication to my core fans. If I don't have that place, I can't build a recurring community or a recurring business. And so it's not a matter of like one or the other. It's really just like, do I have a place where I can reach those core fans and those most important like members of my community and business? Or is it so over-rotated toward discovery that I can't reach them at all?
Yeah, so I feel like one of the main objects of this topic is that these companies might be forgetting that many people created their business online solely on this platform. So my way of making money, my shop is here. And if I'm building this shop by customers coming back to me, if one day the algorithm decides that you don't need the returning customers, you need more new ones, then you are messing with my business profile. You're messing with the whole thing. And I'm trying to adjust myself but at the same time, hey, this is not how we agreed to work together. It applies on Instagram, it applies on TikTok, everywhere. When you're making your business, you have to make sure that you know what the rules are. If there are changes, then I know how to adjust to it. Right now, the changes are kind of under the surface. One day to another, you realize, okay, I'm not reaching half of my audience. Why is that? That can be really frustrating when you're making a living, especially when you, like nowadays, these channels are huge, right? I'm responsible for making other people's living as well. What is happening?
Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts here. One, as we're talking, I'm starting to feel like, isn't this what TV was when we were kids? Like essentially the platforms or the networks, they dictate what is on our screens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is what we had when you wanted to watch MTV. You didn't have a choice of what was on. You just watched MTV and they told you what was on.
Yeah.
So like, is it actually just a really short period of time where independent creative?
I want to add long form and short form to this topic.
It's more like what you just said was like any of those 30,000 things could satisfy my 30-second need to be entertained. And by the way, it sounds like I'm probably like crapping on short form content like that. I think it's a very valuable thing. And I think it's like a really good, in some ways, there's some really great things about it for creators. Pomplamoose is taking advantage of short form. And I want to
I probably watch more Jack Conte in short form vertical now than in long form, right? Because you're doing.
My God, I'm so behind with creators. I really don't know them. If you can suggest your favorite creators, that would be super cool. So I know who do you like to watch, and I can maybe get a couple of more people in my rotation. Please.
Doing those cool animations on your short form, and like I really enjoy those.
You and most people actually,
Yeah.
right? Like people are seeing, our research shows that more people are seeing short form than long form now. People are spending more time on short form than long form. The strange thing about that is people are less likely to pay for short form than long form.
For sure.
They don't value short form as much as they value long form, but their hours are being driven to short form. And it makes it, there's like a tension there as a creator between like discovery and business. And that tension will always be there, right? But there is something like really strange about this like business model dichotomy that I think we're seeing right now, where it's like, what drives the short form ecosystem is ad revenue, which is a time spent metric. And that makes sense to people. And so people like that. And so they spend more of their time in short form. But if you ask them what they actually value in their hearts, and if you look at what they actually pay for, it's longer form, more meaningful media.
We talk about like a very.
I was thinking a lot about myself, how when I'm watching long form, I am definitely more likely to be watching it for education purposes. Like I sit down, I kind of watch a movie, I make sure that I have at least half an hour I can spend. And when I'm watching short form, sometimes I'm waiting for my bus, I'm chilling, I just want to spend some time. Sometimes even I don't really know what to do, so I'm gonna be doing that, so I'm just not bored, which is very different from the long form content. To be honest, I kinda personally see short form as that something to fill up the void, and long form where for me the true value of content is.
Very anecdotal qualitative metric of memorable views versus forgettable views.
Oh, I love that.
And that's just like, I think plain and simple. It's like at the end of the day, what did you remember?
That's one of the best ones I've ever heard. One of the things I wanted to talk about today is like, as a creator now, like, what are your metrics of success?
Yeah.
Or do you even use metrics of success? Because I think there's an argument that's like, don't worry about metrics as a creator. But like some of the metrics of success that I think are more relevant now, like it used to be like follower count, subscriber count was like the thing. I don't want to say that's meaningless now, but it just doesn't matter. It's kind of a vanity metric. Like it's this cumulative score that just builds over time, and it's kind of, it just is not indicative of like
I think
what
in
you
a
just said.
nuanced conversation, it doesn't matter. It still matters in the context of like top line advertising. Like
what are the measures and what are your metrics of success? Absolutely insane question. I feel like, especially because there is a huge difference in terms of how you measure it. And sometimes you even reach that moment when you're like, okay, I hit a number that qualifies. In the meantime, how I feel, what is in my head? Do I feel successful? I feel like there are like two aspects of the number and also the feeling behind it. Because so often when I tell my story, people are like, oh my God, it's insane. Like you travel so much, you work for this and that. And then I realize, oh my God, I didn't even see it that way. Actually, other people make me feel appreciate what I achieved. And that success, the sensor is being adjusted. And I feel like, ooh, okay, I'm good. I would be super curious how people feel generally about it. Like, is it about numbers? Is it about feeling? Is it about people appreciating you? Is it about people hating on you so you know you're doing good? Or actually your family telling you? What is the kind of measure when that number tells me I'm good? I feel like it's so complex that who knows, right? Maybe you do. Tell me.
When somebody looks at you, I don't know how long it'll matter, but it does tell a story.
So let me push on that though, because
and I'm talking about brand deals and sponsorships. I'm not talking about platform revenue there.
So even for brand deals and sponsorships, like I think a more relevant metric is something like your V30.
Even if Colin and Samir is doing the same average viewership, but we have 5 million subscribers, I think we're having a few different conversations.
And we've had conversations with creators that have taken off very quickly on YouTube, and they might be doing 500 to 750,000 views on average, but they have 130,000 subscribers. And it does change the rates they're able to get because they're new to the market.
Yeah.
100%. And yeah, I think what you're pointing out is true, which is like, it's wrong to think about these things in a binary way. It's not like it matters or it doesn't. I think there's a second question though that's like, what should I use to like gauge my own success, and what do I optimize against? And I think more like when I think back to like YouTube 10 years ago and what I was doing and like how I was operating, and then this sort of wave of like retention editing and like there is a path that is like optimizing against follower counts. And I don't want to say that path doesn't work. It works well. It can work for a lot of people.
Views are available.
It's available,
Yeah.
but there's more that like is more material and matters more. And now when the internet's like, we're talking about 20 years of creators and media on the internet at this point. Like if you look at the creators who've been around like a very long time and been through waves of the internet and technological changes, and there's like a spirit and a heart to a lot of that work that has like persisted. And I'm not saying they never chased metrics, because like I do that too. I think we all do that to some extent, but like even you guys, like you make important stuff that is like memorable and meaningful, and you can't measure that with subscriber counts. And I think it's just important to keep that top of mind as a creator, because it's very easy to get sucked down the rabbit hole of optimizing against a single metric.
I think there's...
Yeah, I would like to actually finish it here because I'm reaching a certain amount of footage where I know that it's gonna be enough for one session. Actually, that topic is ultra interesting. For us, very often we look at the content and there might be something which is popular, but I don't agree with it, I don't like it, so I'm not doing it, I'm not going with the wave. Or sometimes I go and I get the results, but that doesn't make me fulfilled, I don't feel happy, I don't feel like I actually achieved something what matters for me. I feel like that's something what our society nowadays is kind of, maybe we are a bit hesitant to accept. Maybe we don't care too much. Maybe we do. I'm not sure that it is as important as it should be nowadays. I see and I follow so many YouTube channels where they talk about how to reach certain numbers. And the main object is that you have to simply copy someone's footage, and it doesn't matter how, you just have to be as fast as possible. They make money. It's just not something that I felt like I want to pursue, because even if I make a lot of money, after a while it's gonna become that chore, that kind of feeling when you're like, okay, I have to do it again, I really don't care. That's why I am doing this channel, because I feel like I am educating myself and I'm breaking down certain things, what is in my head. You can listen to it, and maybe you have a better morning cup of coffee with a bit of knowledge in our hand, actually, because not me who's talking, is these guys. I actually really appreciate this channel because their questions, the way they're thinking is so smart, and I really like to break it down a tiny bit. Colin and Samir, have a look at it. If you want to watch the full video, I'm going to link it in the description. Thank you.